This is Jay Horwitz, the latest edition of Amazing Mental on my podcast. And my special guest this week is Mr. Carlos Delgado, director from Puerto Rico. Carlos, let me ask you a question. In your illustrious 17-year Major League career, did so many things. 473 home runs, most ever by a Puerto Rican player. 10 seasons with 30 more home runs. A 4 home run game. Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame. We ever more satisfied, though, in 10 years, really 15 years ago this month, when they found out you were the winner of the Roberto Clemente Award? How did that make you feel that day?
It was a very special day. As you mentioned, I was fortunate to have a long career and a productive career. Had the opportunity to play with some great people. We had some great teams, great challenges along the way. But in 2006, when that call arrived, that I was awarded the Roberto Clemente Award, it meant a lot to me. As a Puerto Rican, I knew the history and we knew the tradition, the legacy of Roberto Clemente, and being recognized with that award, it meant the world to me. So I always say you do things not to be recognized, but when you get the recognition, you know what I mean? You're flattered, you're humble, and excited, I had the opportunity over the years to help a lot of people and to contribute in a lot of different endeavors. So it was great. It was a very nice moment.
Okay, a personal digression for a second. We had the heartbreak of 2006. Lost to the Cardinals and then in 7 games. And you and I got on a plane, went to St. Louis. We were hoping that it would be in New York, and we accepted the award there. And I always felt that the Clemente Award doesn't really get the recognition it deserves. It doesn't like the other awards. I mean, we did it in St. Louis, which was tough. But don't you feel going forward that it's such a prestigious award, it kind of should get a little bit more recognition?
I do think so. And as you mentioned, going to St. Louis is a little bittersweet. And the way they presented just before a game during the World Series, it kind of steals some of the thunder from the award. I think it needs more recognition. I think it needs another event, something bigger than that. Because if you look at the Clemente, his history and his life, I mean, it's bigger than just baseball. And you want to have your institutions and your organizations cherish those values that he represented. You know what I mean? Dignity, solidarity, social justice, brave. So for us, it was the biggest thing. It was more important than the 3rd game of the World Series. But I know what you mean. I think this is something that I hope MLB gives a little bit more thought, that how important it is to continue to that tradition and to show some of the younger generations the legacy of Clemente.
Carlos, when did you first become aware of Roberto as a young player, athlete growing up in Puerto Rico? When did you first come aware? He died in 73, I think, the winter, right in January.
72.
Yeah, 72. And, he died delivering aid to Venezuela. I mean, when did you become aware of, and when did you decide to take 21 as your number?
Well, ever since you're a little kid, you start hearing the name Roberto Clemente. You might not know the whole story, but if you live in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of streets, avenues, venues, schools, baseball facilities, other sports facilities named after him. So ever since you're a little kid, this is the Roberto Clemente Stadium, or this is the Roberto Clemente Arena, or this is the Roberto Clemente Avenue. But like I said, you might not know. But once you start getting a little older, 14, 15, that you are spending more time, especially in baseball, well, you start hearing the stories. You start understanding, how gracious he was, how good he was, and then you hear about the 3,000 hits, and then you hear about the 71 World Series. And then when you realize that this person got on a plane on December 31st, 1972, to bring supplies and aid to victims of the earthquake in Nicaragua, it really hits home. You go like, oh my God, you're going to leave your family to help others. But, we're talking about this last week during the Roberto Clemente Day, and victims do not understand. They can't wait until the holidays pass. You know what I mean? They just got a big earthquake, and this is life and death situation. So it shows his commitment. It shows his solidarity that day he got on that plane, and unfortunately he passed. But history will always mark that day as a day that the great Roberto Clemente got on a plane to bring supplies to Nicaragua.
Yeah, Carlos, you spoke about Roberto Clemente Day. I guess now we make a little strides that players from Puerto Rico could wear the number, Clemente Award winners could wear the number, but baseball has Jackie Robinson Day 42. I mean, we can't be too far away from having Roberto Clemente Day where everybody should wear 21, don't you think?
I hope that it gets to a day that Major League Baseball actually retire number 21.
Right.
And you mentioned Jackie Robinson, and you know what? I want to believe that Clemente should be in addition to Jackie Robinson, not instead of Jackie Robinson. I think both had a great career. Both were they broke a lot of barriers, and they had phenomenal careers on the field while battling different issues off the field. And that's remarkable. You know what I mean? Let alone trying to perform on a field when everything is like pitches and cream. But when you have racial issues, when you have civil rights issues, when you have Latinos issues, I mean, it's remarkable. So I can't wait until the day that MLB actually retire number 21 and sits alone Jackie number 42 of Jackie Robinson in every major league stadium.
Have you been to the Roberto Clemente Museum in Pittsburgh? It was like a couple of years ago. I went to really an outstanding museum, a lot of great, memory stuff there. Did you ever get a chance to go, Carlos?
I went one time while we stopped in Pittsburgh to play against the Pirates. We went in. It's been a while. Actually, I should go back. It's been probably over 12 years. I've been retired for 11 years now. But that's something that I think we should do. Take my kids, to say, this is the Roberto Clemente Museum, and this is what happened, and show them the city.
Carlos, let's talk about your extra bases. Has it been 20 years? I mean, how long have you been doing extra bases, your charity?
Our charity started in 2001, so it's 20 years that we have been working. It's been a great experience. It's been a fun ride. It's been a learning experience. Having the opportunity to work with a lot of people, having the opportunity to help a lot of people, and I always say it gives us the opportunity to learn from a lot of people. You know what I mean? Sometimes you feel like you're the one giving, but actually you're the one receiving life lessons, which is more important. So 20 years and counting. We have a small team of people that help out, because obviously I can't do it all. But part of my commitment, other than time and the money, is just I want to know what's going on. I want to get my ear on the ground to see what's going on. Like you mentioned, it's easier to sit on a chair and send a check and send that you don't know exactly where it's going. I like to visit. I like to talk to the people that were helping. I was trying to figure out what's the most efficient way for us to help. Everybody needs money, but every dime, every dollar that I save, I can be more productive. I can be more efficient. And at the time of delivering the goods or delivering the service, I like to be there. You know what I mean? I like to be when we're carrying the boxes. I like to be when we're delivering the water or special need, whatever it might be. I like to be there, and not like some of the people that like to be there to carry the first box so they can be on the picture. That's my commitment. If I'm gonna help, if I'm gonna do something, I want to be involved. I want to know what we're getting into, because I like to learn to see how we can make it better for the next organization that we help with, for the next person that we help with, and that's the way I see it. It requires a lot more work. It requires a lot more time, but I think that's the whole point behind. If you want to help, you need to get involved.
The last couple of years have been pretty tough on the island with all the storms, Carlos. I mean, I guess after you got that with one storm and another one hit, tell us what the last few years have been like for the people in Puerto Rico.
Well, the last 4 years have been a little crazy, to say the least. You know, in September 2017, we had Hurricane Irma hit a little bit. We thought it was going to be a bad one, and then we got Maria. Maria was really bad. It just destroyed the island. You know what I mean? A lot of people were without power for a long time, probably 10, 12 months. No communication for a couple of weeks. It was bad. Maria was bad. So the recovery for Maria, it took a long time. Actually, it was September 20th, and they were doing the 4-year anniversary of, and there's a lot of people without roofs still. I mean, the recovery is still going on. So Extra Bases and a lot of other organizations, non-for-profits, did a fantastic job helping people in need, because the government couldn't do everything. So I think a lot of the non-for-profits became first responders, or disaster relief, just to help out. And it was a humbling experience. I got to see places in Puerto Rico that I never been before, even as a Puerto Rican, and got to meet a lot of people. We did a lot of joint collaborations with other foundations and other groups. So it was great. So that went on for a good year and a half. And then, a year later, we got the earthquake on the south and the southwest of the island. And that was devastating. It did not affect a lot of the people on the north side or the east side, but the people in the south really, really suffered, both from structural point of view in their houses and schools and stuff, but emotionally, because the earthquakes, I mean, the big one was in January, but they just kept going for a lot of months after that. So people, it created a lot of anxiety because they didn't know when was going to be the next one. So it's not like a hurricane, that the hurricane, you can track it. Okay, it's going to be here in 2 days, and it's going to be 70, 75 miles an hour, blah, blah, blah. Earthquake, they don't announce, you know what I mean? It just happens. So, and obviously, the last 18 months with the pandemic, COVID, it's been tough for everybody. And we have done a lot of work. We're trying to, at the beginning, we're doing a lot of medical supplies and personal protection stuff for the medical professionals. So it's been interesting the last 4 years. I mean, I definitely want it much easier. I don't want to live this anymore.
Carlos, one of the things that struck me about your foundation is like establishing communication between hospitals in Puerto Rico and cities like in Boston. You tell me a little bit about that. How did you come about trying to do that?
That was a very interesting project. Before all this technology that we had, that we have now, that that anybody can FaceTime or anybody can do a video call or Zoom call. Way before that, I had the opportunity to meet some people in the hospital in Boston, Mass General Hospital in Boston, especially a Puerto Rican doctor that was there, and we were able to bring a telemedicine program to Puerto Rico. I'm talking about 20 years ago. Now telemedicine is probably obsolete. They got other stuff, but back then it gave, the way I saw it, I came from a small town on the west side of the island. It gave me an opportunity to bring resources that otherwise that town wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Even though the doctor from Boston wasn't there, but you get the support on that telemedicine call that at the time, I mean, that was very new, So that was an interesting process, and it was an interesting project. We couldn't maximize it just because a lot of laws, you know what I mean? Then they required doctors from Puerto Rico or doctors from Boston to have a license in Puerto Rico. Just the licensing issue became an issue, and it was sad because I think it was a pretty project.
Cleon Jones was a starting left fielder on a '69 championship team.
Yeah.
And in a way, he reminds me a lot of you.
Never have him. Never met him.
Let me tell you why he reminds me of you. He was done playing in the '70s. He could have moved to New York, but he went back to his hometown in Mobile, Alabama. He lives in the suburb of Mobile called Africatown. And he decided he wanted to stay there and help rebuild that town. And you stayed in Aguadilla, right? I'm pronouncing it right, I hope.
That's my town. I mean, I live.
But you haven't moved away. The point I was trying to make, you could have moved to a bigger city, come back to New York, but you decided to stay home and work within and try to help people in the island. I think that says a lot about your character and what you're about. That you didn't get your roots. What I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
What's your latest project now, Carlos, with the extra bases?
Well, we're currently working. We're working with a hospital in San Juan with a joint effort with another foundation to do pediatric liver transplant. So there's a public hospital, there's a private hospital, and there's two foundations helping some of these kids are on a list in order to get their transplant. So we're committing money, trying to make that transition easy. I didn't know that having a transplant is so complicated. You have to check a lot of boxes before you can go in and get that transplant. So that's been one of our latest projects, and I think it's pretty rewarding. It's a little slow just because you got to have the right person at the right time, and the person that is receiving the organ has to, like I said, check all these boxes and make sure that he's ready. But it's been a learning experience, and we're also doing a project called Ángeles Vivientes to do seminars and talks at the schools to prevent child abuse, and that's also been very rewarding. We got psychologists that does these talks and seminars, and we support her on every front. So it's a problem that we wish we didn't have, but unfortunately we do have it, and we're trying to do our part to fight it.
Yeah. Carlos, can I throw a little baseball with you at the end?
I don't know baseball.
Me either. 2 hip surgeries kind of short your career with the Mets. Do you look at your career. I mean, what a great career. In addition to home runs, over 1,500 RBIs, so many records. Did you ever think if you had stayed healthy at the end, you could have got to 500 home runs and Canadian Hall of Fame is great, but it's really amazing to me. Career 280 hitter and all the other records that you're not in the Hall of Fame and didn't really have unjustly a fair run at the Hall of Fame. Did you ever think back what could have been and all?
I do. I mean, I don't like to cry over spilled milk, but I remember May of 2009 when my hip really flared up and I couldn't play anymore. I was feeling pretty good. I was physically I was fine other than the hip. You know what I mean? I was 27 home runs short of 500, and I also had the desire to play another year after that. So I feel like I could easily have reached 500 home runs. Another sort of goal that I had is just to get over 1,700 RBIs. I think that's a big number. I always took a lot of pride on RBIs. People like home runs, and so do I. You know what I mean? But when you drive people in, you need more than a home run sometimes. I need to put together a good at bat, which was my goal. I tried to put together a good at bat every time I went to the plate. Sometimes it didn't show, but I tried. And as a result, I mean, you drive in runs, and that's a big thing. 1,700 is a big number for me. And I was kind of sad that I didn't get there. Obviously, 500 home run is a big number. It's a benchmark. And you know what? Sometimes I what if? You know, I go, oh, what if my hip didn't give out? What if? But little that I know, I had my first surgery in 2009. I had another one in 2010. Then my left one blew up in 2010. I had the third surgery within 18 months. And a year and a half later, I had a hip replacement. So I have 4 hip surgeries. I tried everything that I could to come back to the field. I did rehab for 24 months straight. So I also look at myself in the mirror and say, you know what? I gave every opportunity that I have. I went to the best doctors. I moved to Colorado for 6 months to get what at the time, the best attention that I could. It just wasn't strong enough. So, whatever. I can't get any more hits now. I'm happy with my career. I get the best I could.
Let me a couple more charity questions, Carlos. You've been retired 10 years. A lot of times when players get out of the game, they stop giving. What made you, keep giving after all these years? You won the award in 2006. You've been out of the game 10 years, and yet you still give, and give. Was it Clemente the influence, and what made you keep giving?
I'll tell you what, Jay. I live my life, and I try to be grateful. You know what I mean? I had the opportunity to do what I love for the longest time. For 17 years, I was in a Major League Baseball field, part of 17 years. I'm healthy. I have a healthy family. I get to see my kids every day. I get to take them or pick them up at school every day. So I'm grateful. And if I can help others, if I can impact the life of other people, if I can help somebody reach their goal or reach their dream, I think it's more satisfying than anything else, So as long as I have the energy and the health to continue to do it, I'm going to continue to do it. It just makes me feel good. It's not because I want to do it so people say, oh, by the way, Carlos Delgado does charity. No, you know what? I do it because I feel like it. There's a lot of probably really good causes that we do not support just because, you know what? I can't support everything. And I feel like, okay, our vision is this, and we're going to kind of stick with this. And I think this is the most important for us, even though that we do recognize that other people out there are doing a fantastic job with other causes that we do not get involved with. So I don't know if you understand where I'm coming 100%. It's just got to be satisfying for us, something that we really believe in.
Good. Carlos, if people wanted to contribute to Extra Bases, how would they go about it?
Well, there's you can follow us. You can look us on the web. So it's www.extrabases.org. So we write it in Spanish, so it's the E at the beginning, Extra Bases with an S at the end, .org. And we're on Facebook, Extra Bases PR. We are on Instagram. We're on Twitter. And you can follow us, and there's a little button on our website. It says English. So if you don't speak Spanish, just go to English. And we try to put information on on our Instagram or on our Facebook. There's a PayPal button in there. There's a donate button in there. That if you feel like it, you're more than welcome to support us.
Carlos, you ever get to follow baseball and watch any Met games at all? If you had a chance.
I do. Not a lot. I don't watch a lot of games. I do follow it. I mean, there's a good Puerto Rican representation with the Mets.
Yes, sir. That's what I was talking about.
Baez, Diaz, and Nito. So every night I'll check just to see if the Mets win or lose. I'll check the box score just to see Lindor and Baez doing.
Don't forget about Lugo, Carlos.
Oh, yeah, Lugo. Yeah, Lugo.
I'm just kidding.
We had no. Lugo's it's a big piece of the WBC team in 2017.
Yes.
So I like Seth that he really embraced the whole Puerto Rican team during those series. So yeah, I will not forget about Lugo and Ricky Bones. I might add.
Yes, Ricky, they care. Yeah. Ricky's. Yeah, I know Ricky's. Very tied to the homeland too. But listen, I appreciate your time. You're a good man. We had a good run together. Just fell a little short one year, but we had a couple of great teams. That 2006 team was, win 97 games, beat the Dodgers. You had a great postseason, and more than the home runs and the RBIs, it's just great that you still do what you think. You try to help people and do the right thing, and it really shows what kind of person you are, Carlos Delgado. And I appreciate your time, and keep doing what you do. And if we can ever help you up here with the Mets, don't hesitate to call any of us.
Got it. Thank you so much, Jay. It's always good catching up with you. Be well.
And you be well and be safe.
Will do. Be safe.